Hey everyone, and welcome back to the development side of Coops Gaming. Today I'm going to be going over some updates to my disc golf game that I was working on a few months ago. Uh, it's been a while since I've given a public update, but as you can tell, if you followed the previous versions and looking at the map here, it looks a little bit different, and that's a good thing. Uh, so let's just click play and I'll walk you through some of the new features live. So first and foremost, yes, I did update the map. There is a goal to have a few new maps created using the new systems that I've developed, because they're a little bit more streamlined than the previous edition was. As you can hear, there is a wind sound. There's actually randomized weather that will update over time as you play the game. That's weighted based on what the individual levels' seasons, with quotes around seasons, are supposed to be. There's also actually wind going on, so if I were to throw a disc, its path is affected by a force of wind. Now, the wind physics aren't perfect, but they do exist and they do affect how the game plays a little bit. There is a sun, and the sun does move across the sky, causing a day and night cycle if you play for long enough. Right now, it's a very slow cycle, so you'd have to play for quite a long time before it gets dark, but that's okay. If we sat here and stared at the shadow long enough, you would actually see it shifting gradually, which the shift that you see right now happening kind of quickly, I think is more based on the wind. Um, Another feature that you may have already noticed if you're watching closely is in the top right, there is a mini-map. And this mini-map shows you a number and then a line, a very vibrant pink line. That number is which basket you're at, technically, or which hole if you're more familiar with golf terms. And the line is the direct path to the actual basket itself at the other end. Uh, so that's how you can know where to start and where to finish for every basket. Another thing that's been added, if you can see in the distance there, are some wildlife. There are now very friendly AI wildlife creatures. You can't do anything with them except for bump into them. They ignore your presence, but they are there and can be enjoyed from an aesthetic perspective. We have deer, some ducks that you might see in just a second, as well as a fox. And all of them are powered by AI. The ducks are imperfect, like that one is. He looked like he was standing up and flapping his wings while flying through the sky. But, progress is progress, as they say, and I'm very happy with the efforts that have gone into making this as it is. There is a flowing river, so you can see the effects over there of the river flowing downhill, coming along here. So that's nice. There are still 9 discs, though their stats are different than they were in the previous edition, and they range from drivers to mid-range to putters. They all look the same still, so that's a development that's going to come later. But every time you spawn a new disc, the previous disc goes away. And that's just to reduce the amount of clutter that exists in the game. It keeps the game functioning more smoothly because there's less random junk that's filling the screen. The baskets also still make a sound when you hit the chains, so that's cool. I also added a flag at the top. I added a flag at the top to make it look more like a flag that you might see when you're actually out playing disc golf. There are some paths that have been created. They are attempting to simulate like roads, dirt roads in a forest environment. So if you've ever driven down the back roads of a small town in the United States, you'd be familiar with those sorts of things. Here's the other deer family. They seem to be just hanging out for a moment. And the fox is usually around here somewhere. Oh, there he is. Again, the wildlife are all just really chill and just want to hang out. We added some lanterns so that if it gets to the night cycle, you can still sort of see. But the game is definitely not built to really be played in the night stage. So they're there, and if you choose to explore the world when it's dark, that is up to you. If we cut this way and ignore the path of the game as it's supposed to be, we'll get to a new mountain range that I'm working on. The hitboxes for the mountain range aren't perfect, which neither are the trees, but the trees are getting closer to perfect. So those trees are fine. That bush is bounced off of somewhere on that tree, or that bush. Anyway, some trees have better collision than other trees. And some of these rocks have better collisions than other rocks. It's like this one kind of goes through and then it comes back out. I think that one hits the surface and just stops. So I need to perfect the rocks that I have. But overall, I'm pretty happy with them. As far as next things that come for the game, finishing up building a first level is probably the goal at the moment. I do want to add some music. I've bought the rights to some sounds and some music that I'll be able to add, which will add to the atmosphere a little bit. There are some other features that I want to add as far as like obstacles in levels, because yeah, there's nice little hills here, and there are rocks you have to throw between. But I'd really like to build a cave level. I just think that'd be cool. Let's see, what else? I think that's all I've got at the moment, as far as planned additions. So, yeah. I also plan to have a demo version of this available to be played via itch.io, which, for those of you who are familiar, itch is a place for indie developers to put their relatively small-sized games. I think they support up to 2 gigabytes of game size, and this just barely fits in that, so you'll probably only be able to play one level within that capacity. But it is what it is. I'm pretty happy with it. And yeah, if you like this, like, share, subscribe. Feel free to leave comments about ideas that you think would be good to add to the game, and if I agree that they are good ideas, I may just implement them. If you have questions about how I did something, feel free to ask that as well, and I will probably be happy to answer those questions. I don't want to give away too much about how I've built some of the stuff, but I'd be happy to share some of it. So yeah, let me know. Feel free to reach out, and thanks for following. It's been a fun project, and hopefully I'm going to have a little bit more to show in the very near future. Maybe even discuss doing a small release on Steam, and as I develop more, release more. But anyway, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.